A baseball fan, and I'm a diehard baseball fan.
It's Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
And a very good Monday evening to you, Jacksonville. It is Hacker After Dark, 1010XL 92.5 FM with Aaron Williams. The Hacker Ryan Green with you. Glad you are with us and glad to be back with you. It was a great vacation. I don't know how many of you have been to the great state of Hawaii. I had never been up until about 10 days ago, and I hope to go back in the very near future. I told Rick this. There are some, every vacation's fun, right? And every vacation's memorable, certainly. But there are those vacations that, man, you're going to remember for a long, long time. And boy, Hawaii had that. It was absolutely spectacular. I'm a history buff, and I had never been to Pearl Harbor, and I got to go experience that and tour that, including the unbelievable memorial they have there for the Arizona. Took a helicopter ride around Oahu, which was, again, just unbelievable. Went to Waikiki, went to North Shore, right? You always hear about the North Shore. For all those surfing competitions. That was quite the scene. Went to this place called the Polynesian Cultural Center, which, again, just an amazing, amazing place. Think of like Epcot without the alcohol, because what they do is like Tonga, Samoa, Fiji, other places. Hawaii is a separate one as well. They have countries, their own like little section of this center, and they go there and you like taste the food of that country and taste the non-alcoholic drinks of that country. And then you experience that culture, and it's very awesome. And then afterwards, there's a huge restaurant where you go have a buffet, and then you go in for the luau. And it's in this like amphitheater setting, and it is just an experience, dare I say, of a lifetime. It was an hour and a half long show, and it was absolutely incredible. I cannot recommend Hawaii enough. And the people over there, man, again, when you work in tourism and you work in the tourist industry, odds are you're going to be pretty good to the tourists, right? So I understand that. Goodness knows I've been to Disney enough times to know, that people that work in tourism are going to be good to you. But then there's people that go above and beyond, and Hawaii was just full of these people, just unbelievably nice people, unbelievable culture. Like, I'll give you a prime example. We went on a fishing charter with Captain Mikey, and Captain Mikey was a one-man band, right? He didn't have a crew. He's driving this 43-foot boat. He's the fishing guide. He got us involved in snorkeling there in the Pacific Ocean. And being a one-man band, not only did he have to drive said boat, but when we got out to where we needed to park, he jumped in the water, found the tie line, tied the anchor to it, 10 feet underwater, came back up, did everything for us. Then he had Little Hack, quote-unquote, drive the boat, which I'm not sure if he did or not, certainly, but he thought he did, which made Little Hack's trip, thinking he was driving this big 43-foot boat in the Pacific Ocean, lifted a sail, and we sailed back into port. Captain Mikey is just like one of the guys that we met. That's just one example of how great the people are out there. And again, I had never been to Hawaii. I had never experienced it, but I loved it. And I hope to go back again, certainly in the next couple of years. The one thing I will say, though, again, I'm not the most extravagant traveler, right? I've been to Europe once, and it was 30 years ago. I fly to Boston, right? I've flown to Baltimore and New York, places like that, Nashville, Kansas City. That flight to Honolulu, man, that is real stuff. That's when you're getting into the weeds, because we flew out of Orlando. We flew to Denver because we flew United. So we had a 3.5-hour flight from Orlando to Denver. And then it's another 7 hours from Denver to Honolulu. I don't know the last time I've been served a meal on an airplane, but they served meals on this airplane. That's how long the flight was. And coming back yesterday, and I say yesterday, yeah, I was in Honolulu, Hawaii yesterday morning. At 4:30 a.m. Eastern Time, Sunday morning, I was at the Honolulu airport. So I can officially say that I was in Hawaii yesterday, flew to Denver, 2-hour layover, flew to Orlando, and then had that 2.5-hour drive back. Not only did I not get into my house last night in Mandarin until about 9 o'clock, so it was all of a 17-hour travel day, I then, Aaron, had the added luxury, the added bonus of waking up at 4 a.m. this morning and carrying my in-laws to our airport so that they could fly home. So I think I've slept, and I'm not doing this as like radio shtick or anything, and I'm not asking people to feel sorry for me. It's just reality. I think I've slept 5.5 hours in the last 48 hours.
And you don't look tired at all.
I think I'm well beyond that, to be honest with you. I think there comes a certain point when tired just leaves and you become delusional,
Yeah.
which is why I'm happy to be here with everybody on Hacker After Dark. I'm fired up to do this for the first time in a week and a half. It could be a humdinger of a show because I am going on severe lack of sleep. But again, Hawaii, fantastic. If you ever are thinking about it or have the means, do it, do it, do it. And that Ko'olina place that I stayed at, man, that is, I can't recommend that place enough. Absolutely spectacular. There's a lot of stuff that happened while I was gone, though. I mean, good grief. Ruben Chinyelu back at the University of Florida. I'll certainly get into that. The Orlando Magic have a brand new coach, and the Jaguars were back out at OTAs. And are they going to keep me away from OTAs? I mean, I'm in Honolulu, Hawaii at 4:30 on Sunday morning Eastern Time, knowing the Jaguars have a 9 a.m. Monday practice. You think that was going to stop me from going to the Jaguars? Of course not. I was at the Jaguars today. I soaked it all in down at the Miller Electric Center, had a conversation with Dennis Gardeck, and you will hear that conversation coming up in about 10 minutes or so here on Hacker After Dark. My buddy Jamal St. Cyr from Channel 4 will join us tonight to give his thoughts on today's OTA. And we tonight begin one of my favorite 8-week periods on Hacker After Dark. I do it every year. 8 weeks prior to Jaguar training camp, we do 1 week division previews. 8 separate divisions, obviously the 8 divisions in the NFL, 1 division per week leading up to the start of Jaguar training camp. And tonight we kick it off in the AFC East. This week, we will make stops in Miami, in New York, in New England, but we'll start it tonight with the Buffalo Bills. He's kind of been our leadoff guy for this for the last 4 years, just the way it's worked out. Sal Capaccio, WGR 550 in Buffalo, will join us to recap the Bills offseason. But again, this week, the AFC East, and we will go division by division, 1 division per week, leading up to the start of Jaguar training camp, which is now next month, right? The Jaguars will have training camp next month down at the Miller Electric Center. Every night on Hacker After Dark, we do kick it off with a big deal of the night. And Aaron Williams, let's do that right now.
Time now for the big deal of the night
What's the big deal?
What is the big deal?
No, because it is a big deal.
on Hacker After Dark.
Yeah, Liam Cohen had some interesting things to say today post-practice about Brian Thomas Jr. in kind of a positive light based on some of the things that were said nationally about him last year. And we'll hear from Liam Cohen coming up on that here in just a moment. But being down there today at the Miller Electric Center, first was great to be back, right? I missed last week on vacation. This was the second OTA that was open to the media, but I wasn't going to miss this one. I'll be there every day now, OTAs, minicamp, and training camp until the season begins. Just good to be back out there. You know, and it was interesting. And I asked Dennis Gardeck this, and we'll play you his response during our interview coming up in just a moment here on Hacker After Dark. But boy, just a lot of familiarity, right? I mean, you make like one trade, right? Rook Arroyo is here. You bring in Chris Rodriguez and Amir Abdullah. And then you got the rookie class, both draft picks and undrafted free agents. But everybody else was here a year ago. You know, they're kind of running it back down there in Jacksonville. You go down there and you see Hines Allen and Trayvon Walker and Eric Armstead and Devon Hamilton and Strigal, BJ Green, Foye. I'm just mentioning defensive guys here. You know, Jarian Jones, Buster Brown. I saw Jordan Lewis and Travis Hunter off to the side. I mean, it's just familiarity. There was simply not a lot of turnover on this roster. And we've had years where we go into, you know, mini camps and training camps and OTAs, and there's 30 or 40 or 50 new guys, and 15 of those guys are veteran free agents that the Jaguars brought in on top of all the rookies. Well, you don't have that this year. They're kind of running it back. And why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? I mean, this is a team that won 13 football games last year. This is a team that finished the year in the regular season on an 8-game winning streak. There's a lot of good that happened. Certainly it did not end the way we would have hoped, which I guess is kind of ironic because we're going to start our division previews tonight talking about the team that beat Jacksonville, that being, of course, the Buffalo Bills. But I was just taken aback. And look, we knew that they didn't do a lot, but every time you go down to the Miller Electric Center, the Jaguar PR staff, they're excellent about this. They have the printout of the roster and all the information down there for us. Again, John and Dylan and Emily and all those folks do such a great job down there. But you're looking, it's like, man, just a lot of familiarity, a lot of reminiscing about what this guy did and what that guy did in 2025, because we're expecting that and more in 2026. As far as things that stood out, look, we got to be a little careful with what we say. I will say this. I always look for my guy, right? I've always told this story. Whether it's rookie minicamp, OTAs, or the very latest training camp, Aaron, I'll pick out my guy. And what that means is somebody kind of off the radar, somebody that no one's talking about. And my claim to fame, and luckily Leon Searcy backs me up because he was the one guy that heard me say this about 7 or 8 years ago. We're out at rookie minicamp 7 or 8 years ago, and I go to Leon, I say, I like 42. Who's 42? That's going to be my guy this year. And that turned out to be Dewey Wingard. So ever since that situation, I've picked out a guy. And some years it's a hit, some years it's a miss. But I always try to do that. And I don't have one yet because I've only been down to one practice. And I don't even really like to pick out draft picks because I like to go completely off the radar. But I'm going to mention a couple of guys that just stood out to me today. CJ Williams stood out to me, the wide receiver from Stanford. Now, again, they're in T-shirt and shorts, basically. I mean, OTAs are what they are. You don't want to blow it out of proportion. But I had heard good things about CJ Williams at rookie minicamp and some of the things he did last week at the first OTA. So I took a good look at him today, and I can see what people were talking about. That's a guy that piqued my interest. I'll tell you another guy that piqued my interest. And I'm not sure how much playing time there is for this guy to have this year. I don't even know if there's a roster spot. It's going to be tough. But is it Jamari Taylor, the undrafted kid from Virginia, the running back, number 30? Boy, he looks the part. He really looks the part. Now, again, I don't know what that will mean when pads come on. And you got Bayshell Tootin, and you got LaQuint Allen Jr., and obviously they've signed Chris Rodriguez, Amir Abdullah, DJ Dallas. I mean, there's not a lot of room for a running back to make the 53-man roster. But the kid Taylor from Virginia, just keep your eye on him because that was a guy that kind of popped a little bit for me today, flashed a little bit. You can't really tell much out of the linemen, right? Because they're not in pads, not a lot of thumping going on. In fact, there's no real hitting going on. The one thing I did notice is Strigal, 92, the undrafted free agent that made the roster last year. He looks bigger to me. I think that guy found the weight room over the last 5 or 6 months. And he wasn't a small guy last year. But you look at 92, you look at Strigal, at least I did today, and to me, he's just a bigger human being than what he was last year, which, again, I thought he had a very good season for being an undrafted, rookie free agent. And I'll tell you this, too, Tanner Kozio, the kid from Houston, the tight end, guy that had like 74 catches, led the nation in tight end receptions last year in college. Well, he's a big guy, too, man. He's listed at 6'7", 250. I almost wonder if he's bigger than that. He is just a large, large human being. So those are just a couple of observations. Another big one's Brian Thomas Jr. And everything I've heard about BTJ this offseason is he's looked very good. I thought he looked very good today on a couple of routes, some 7-on-7 situations as well. Liam Cohen, after the practice, the Jaguar head coach, thanks to our friends at Jaguars.com, was asked a couple of things about Brian Thomas Jr., the first of which was on what many considered to be a setback season last year. Cohen commented on that after practice earlier today.
I think that anytime you have a, I guess, quote unquote setback, I don't know. I mean, I guess fantasy and people care a lot about that, but I know we won 13 games. So I'm sure if you're a competitor, I know you want your stats and your contributions to be at an all-time high. And yes, that is a part of this. It's a part of the puzzle. But the ball gets spread out in this offense to multiple different players. It doesn't really just feed through one person. So, I think that that's something that he had to work through. We all had to work through.
And along those lines, Liam Cohen was also asked this about Brian Thomas Jr. Because, look, the 24-hour news cycle, right? We all have heard the rumors nationally about Brian Thomas Jr.'s future here. The Jaguars have been pretty steadfast in saying he's not going anywhere. But there have been national rumors popping up here and there about BTJ. And just the criticism, quite frankly, the criticism he got after that 1,300-yard, 10-touchdown rookie campaign to come back and not put up those numbers in year number 2. Liam Cohen was asked about how Brian Thomas Jr. has attacked this offseason.
I've been very pleased with the way that he has attacked this offseason, the way that he takes the meeting room to the practice, and how that's looked. We're being a little bit more intentional about usage and chemistry with him this spring and trying to get a true connection that we didn't quite have last spring or last training camp, if you will. So I've been very pleased with how he's taken the things that we asked him to do to get better at and to be intentional about those reps. But, I know everybody's, it's down year and fantasy and this, that, and the third. I mean, when you're on a good team, I think that typically matters a little bit more.
Again, Liam Cohen, I mentioned this a lot last year, and I'll probably continue to mention it because I like the guy. I just like what the guy says. I love that. I mean, this is not fantasy football. And quite frankly, if you want to be perfectly honest about it, a lot of the criticism about the Jaguars this offseason has come from fantasy football guys, particularly when the Travis Hunter stuff came out, that he was going to play a lot more defense. Fantasy guys were all up in arms about that and flocked to social media. And Brian Thomas Jr., look, when you have Parker Washington, when you get Jacoby Myers midseason, you have Brenton Strange, you had all these guys last year, Travis Hunter before he got hurt. There is only one football. And you're going to have a similar problem this year. Brian Thomas Jr. could be a better overall player than he was his rookie year, but his stats won't show it because you're going to spread the wealth. You got Brenton Strange. You got Jacoby Myers. You got Parker Washington. You got BTJ. You invested a second-round pick in Nate Borkesher, right? You invested a couple of draft picks and another tight end and 2 more wide receivers. You got Bashel Tootin, LaQuint Allen Jr. There's a lot of weapons on this offense. So maybe BTJ won't be the 87-catch, 1,300-yard, 10-touchdown guy he was his rookie year. But if he gets you 55 for 950 and 7 scores, when Jacoby Myers is getting you another 50 for 800 and 6 touchdowns, and Parker's doing 60 for 1,000 and 8 touchdowns, I mean, put those numbers together. Nothing's going to jump off the page at you, but you put those numbers together. What is that, 27, 2,800 yards, 17, 18 touchdowns between those 3 guys? I'd sign up for that right now. And that's not even counting Brenton Strange or what Travis Hunter may or may not do on the offensive side of the football. That's the offensive story. The defensive story, well, it's a lot of familiarity. Like I said, a lot of guys that were on this defense in 2025 are back in 2026, including Dennis Gardeck. And we'll hear that conversation coming up next. Dennis Gardeck joins us after the break. I had a chance to catch up with him earlier today down at the Miller Electric Center. Talked about his re-signing here in Jacksonville, what this last year has been like. Remember, he signed here basically a year ago when he was injured. He had to rehab. He did rehab. He finally got back on the field in late August, and he did enough to earn himself a contract extension here with the Jacksonville Jaguars. My conversation with Dennis Gardeck is coming up next on a Monday evening here in Northeast Florida. Glad to be back with you. Hacker After Dark till 10 o'clock on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM.
Live streaming from the XL Digital Studios. Brightened by Harbor Dental Care, Jacksonville's first choice for dental emergencies.
Rick Ballou here with a congratulations for John's Auto. They've been in business in Jacksonville for 40 years. That's right, going all the way back to 1985. Right now, they'd like to thank each and every one of you who's ever gotten their vehicle serviced at John's Auto. So, car, truck, or diesel, all makes, all models, whether it's a routine maintenance or a complete engine overhaul, go to John's Auto on Arlington Road, johnautomotivejacks.com.
This is Jeff Middlecoff with Cogent Bank. My associate Ryan Salem and I joined Cogent Bank because we wanted to revolutionize the mortgage business, just like Cogent Bank has revolutionized the banking business. So Ryan Salem and I are able to leverage the power and stability of Cogent Bank to go out and find our clients the best investors, the best products, and the best rates in the entire country for your particular mortgage loan. Of course, you don't have to be a customer at Cogent Bank to take advantage of our mortgage services to buy or refinance your home. We offer jumbo loans, VA, FHA, conventional and investment loans. At Cogent Bank, we offer mortgages nationwide, so we can help you with a second home or help a family member who lives or is moving to another state. Call Ryan Salem or myself, Jeff Middlecoff, at Cogent Bank today, 904-442-9191, to see how we can help you with any of your mortgage loan needs, whatever or wherever they may be.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender, Cogent Bank, NMLS ID 402296, Ryan Salem, NMLS ID 1182429, Jeff Middlecoff, NMLS ID 249086.
If fishing is in your DNA, hop in the boat with Captain Kevin. It's the Ring Power Fishing Forecast Show, brought to you by Awaken 180 Weight Loss and Royal Pest Services.
Thursday nights at 6
on 1010XL AM.
Buying a home with a septic system? Then there's one step you absolutely cannot skip, the inspection. Know for sure before you close. Call Duck Duck Rooter, Northeast Florida's only master septic contractor with the experience to inspect your system the right way, so there are no surprises later. Right now, take $50 off a full septic system inspection, including a detailed report. The small step that can save you from a big mistake.
When you're stuck, call the duck. 904-862-6769. Your shrimp's in the bag.
Baseball is back. Jumbo Shrimp Baseball at the newly renovated VyStar Ballpark is your home for affordable family fun. Tickets start at just $5. Fireworks after every Friday home game and kids around the bases after Sunday games. Log on to jackshrimp.com for tickets and details. Jumbo Shrimp Baseball, affordable family fun.
Hey, Hicken here, folks. It's happening. It is happening. We're going fairway lush and green at the Hicken household for, topdressing.com. Treated my yard, and I'm telling you guys, another company cannot do what they do. They have the custom equipment, that secret mix. You can't buy it in the store. Heck, it takes a year to make. With topdressing.com, you're amending your soil, and it's thriving. Make your neighbors jealous. Get to topdressing.com today or call 888-850-1850 for your free estimate.
At Orthopedic Specialists of Jacksonville, care starts with listening, one-on-one consultations, clear answers, and a plan built around you. Our orthopedic surgeons, sports medicine physicians, and rehabilitation specialists work together to treat injuries, manage chronic pain, and restore strength and mobility. From your first check-in to your personalized treatment plan, everything is designed to help you move forward with confidence. Orthopedic Specialists of Jacksonville, expert care, improving lives.
Hicken here. Experience crystal clear vision with the Eye Associates, formerly Bowden Eye Associates, Schneider Eye and Wellness Center, and Janet Betchkel, MD, Jacksonville's leader in advanced eye care. From routine eye exams to specialized vision care, their experienced team dedicated to improving and preserving your vision. The same care you come to trust, now with a new name. To schedule your appointment today, call the Eye Associates, formerly Bowden Eye Associates, Schneider Eye and Wellness Center, and Janet A. Betchkel, MD, at 296-0098.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's team time, Farah doesn't flinch. Hacker, After Dark, on 1010XL.
Yes, it is. Glad you're with us. By the way, Florida State baseball, their season ended earlier today with a loss to St. John's. We know Miami baseball, their season ended by losing to Troy over the weekend. Well, Florida baseball, their season has about 2 innings left at this rate. Troy not only eliminated Miami, they look like they're going to eliminate Florida, too. After beating the Gators 16-11 yesterday, Troy is up 7-2 going to the 8th inning in a win-or-go-home scenario. How about this in college baseball? Now, no one's going to care, probably because it's college baseball. But if Troy wins the game, then you're going to have Troy and Arkansas Little Rock in a super regional with the winner of that going to the College World Series. That's pretty cool. Unfortunately, it's going to be at the cost of both the Hurricanes and the Gators, who Troy is about to eliminate both. And again, Florida State's also out after losing to St. John's. So I don't know the last time that Miami, Florida, or Florida State were all eliminated before super regional play. Maybe it's happened recently. I'm not the biggest college baseball guy, but I do know that historically the Gators, the Noles, and the Canes are all pretty good at college baseball. And for all three to be eliminated and not make a super regional would be quite the deal, particularly if 2 of them, Miami and Florida, already get eliminated by the same team, and that being Troy. We'll keep you updated, but not looking good for the Gators heading in to the 8th inning. It's always good to be down at the Miller Electric Center for Jaguar OTAs. That's where I was earlier today, and I had the opportunity to catch up with Jaguar linebacker Dennis Gardeck. All right, the Jaguars wrapping up another OTA out here at the Miller Electric Center. We got Jaguar linebacker Dennis Gardeck with us here on 1010XL. Dennis, how we doing?
Good. How are you doing?
We're good, man. How'd practice go out there today?
Nice start to the week.
As a veteran, what do you look to accomplish during OTAs? What do you, as your career has progressed from a young player to where you are now, is the way you look at OTAs similar?
Absolutely. I was really excited to be back with the Jags and this staff specifically because I feel like my pass game, IQ, technique, fundamentals really needed to pick up. I've kind of been more in the rush mindset for most of my career. I want to round out my game. So being around some really smart coaches as well as players to kind of help give me the tips and tricks and the hows to get things done. But in general terms, I guess, just trying to continue to find ways to get better and even out my game.
Interesting last 365 days for you. You basically signed here in Jacksonville around this time last year. You were rehabbing an injury. You come back, obviously perform very well. The team gives you a contract extension. How would you assess your game over the last year here in Jacksonville?
I think I'm proud of what I did last year, but I think there's still so much more meat on the bone, and that's what I'm really excited about this offseason is getting into the details and the fundamentals, being able to elevate my game to the next level.
A couple more for Jaguar linebacker Dennis Gardeck. What does that mean to a player when you want to stay with an organization? Obviously, the organization wants to keep you here. You get the extension, and that's got to be a great feeling.
It is some continuity. I think you have to capitalize on continuity. To be the same player I was last year, this year would be a failure, I would say. Just knowing everybody, knowing how this defense operates, knowing the people to the right and left of me, and having a general understanding already, we got to take the next step.
You know, you've been around this league for a long time. Defensively, this team did not add one outside veteran free agent on the defensive side of the ball. Now, a lot of rookies are here. A lot of undrafted rookies are here. But what does that mean to the defensive guys in that locker room that the team basically wants to run it back with a lot of the same personnel they had a year ago?
Yeah, I can't speak for anybody else, but I was excited to take the field with everybody on the field last year. I think everybody would kind of say similarly. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it, and let's continue to find ways to be better.
As we begin to wrap up, Anthony Campanile back for year number 2. You talked about that earlier, but what does it mean to you to have your same defensive coordinator back for a second year?
Yeah, a huge factor in the decision coming back. I like being around him. It's not easy. It's not always fun, but just knowing he cares, the level of detail that he puts into his job makes you want to get more out of yourself. And then it's just I think my brand of football fits well with his brand of defense, and I'm excited to run it back.
Dennis, final question. There's an excitement in this city. What you guys did last year, winning the division, going to the playoffs. Can you sense the excitement that the fan base has coming into 2026?
Yeah, but that's not what we're focused on right now. We need to keep our head down and find what we can work on. So the excitement will take care of itself. That's not really anything we can control or have anything over. It's just getting better day to day and putting the best product on the field on Sundays.
Jaguar linebacker Dennis Gardeck. Dennis, appreciate your time, man.
Thank you.
There you go. Jaguar linebacker Dennis Gardeck with us here on Hacker After Dark. He's a no-nonsense guy. I talked to Dennis a lot last year. I'm happy he's back this year. It's interesting. Dennis Gardeck was a beloved figure out in Arizona. He was like their Dewey Wingard, an undrafted guy that made good and played many, many years. And now, ironically, towards the back end of both of their careers, Gardeck has found a home here in Jacksonville, whereas Andrew Wingard is now out with Gardeck's former team in the Arizona Cardinals. Kind of a little bit of irony there. That Dennis Gardeck interview is the Cornerstone Interior Solutions interview. Say it with me, Cornerstone Interior Solutions. Look, the bottom line, your AC shouldn't have to work overtime in this Florida heat. And it's brutal, and it's going to get more brutal. That's why more homeowners and builders are calling my friends at Cornerstone Interior Solutions for spray foam insulation in homes, crawl spaces, garages, you name it. Spray foam helps keep the heat out, the comfort in, and your energy bills under control. Comfort wins, efficiency wins, Cornerstone wins. Give my friends at Cornerstone Interior Solutions a call at 904-540-4572, or you can visit their website, cornerstoneinteriorsolutions.com. And again, Jared and all the great folks over there at Cornerstone Interior Solutions, we welcome them every night here on Hacker After Dark. You heard from Dennis Gardeck. Now let's hear from my buddy Jamal St. Cyr of Channel 4. I had the opportunity to catch up with Jamal down at Jaguar practice. I'm going to have him on tonight because I want to talk to him about his observations. He was out at OTA number 1 last week. He was out there again tonight, or earlier this morning at OTA number 2. Let's talk to Jamal about his observations, what he's seen through the first couple weeks of OTAs, and we'll do that next on a Monday night here in Northeast Florida. Hacker After Dark, back from vacation. Glad to be back with you. It's 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
All day, every day, year after year, you got a mission 1010XL.
From the FIFA World Cup to competitive business environments, grand ambitions lead to game-changing achievements. At Bank of America, we're there to support businesses at every step, providing insights and expertise to help you gain an edge.
He shoots, he scores!
What would you like the power to do? Explore winning business solutions at BofA.com/gamechangers. Bank of America, official bank of the FIFA World Cup 2026.
Checkmate. I'm Brendan Cecilia, founder of Checkmate Coatings.
And I'm Chester, Checkmate mascot and cultural ambassador.
Summer is a perfect time to have your garage floor coating installed. With our chemicals drying even faster in the warmer weather, it's a busy time for us, but we can still keep our prices surprisingly affordable.
And with 0% financing available, you can enjoy your floor now and pay for it later.
And Chester can enjoy his fancy British tea that I have to pay for.
I do enjoy a nice Darjeeling, Brandon, and the quality is important.
And at Checkmate, the highest quality is our minimum standard.
On flooring and tea.
Gorgeous garage floors?
Check. Perfect installation?
Check. Easy payment options that make your great new floor affordable? Checkmate!
Transforming your floors, making them great. Checkmate.
Visit checkmatecoatings.com. That's checkmatecoatings.com.
Homeowners running out of space in your kitchen, closets bursting at the seams, or maybe your bathroom just feels outdated and cluttered. At Harvest Construction and Remodeling, custom cabinets are what they do best. Owner Scott spent years as the main cabinet installer for one of the region's largest big box retailers. As a family man growing his own business, he brings that experience directly to homeowners like you. They'll create beautiful storage solutions that improve look, feel, and function. Visit harvestrenovations.com.
License number CRC 1331012.
Hello, all you Jacksonville sports fans. Don here from Taco Lou. If you're in the mood for some great tacos, cold Dos Equis, maybe even a sip of some fine tequila, then the Lou is calling your name. Come out to Jack's Beach and experience what many have dubbed the #1 taco in the 904. There are plenty of great taco joints in town, and we're proud to have been around for this long, and we have only you, the fine people of Jacksonville, to thank for helping us grow and become who we are today. Cheers to you, Jacksonville, and thank you from the Lou crew. Taco Lou in Jacksonville Beach.
I used to dread going to the dentist. Every visit felt like a sales pitch with constant upselling, surprise fees on my bill, and I could never get in when I needed to. But Harbor Dental Care? Totally different. They saw me the next day, gave me honest pricing up front, and even set me up with a payment plan I could actually afford. No pressure, no surprise charges, just kind people who get it. If you want to experience dentistry the way it should be, book your appointment today at harbordental.care. That's HARBOUR dental.care.
Looking for a real career with great pay and full benefits? Prosser here for Julington Creek Pest Control. As a growing, family-owned company that cares about its employees, they're hiring lawn technicians in the Jacksonville area. No experience required. This is a salaried position with top industry pay. Full benefits, a 401k match, and paid training. Apply today at JulingtonCreekPestControl.com. Julington Creek Pest Control, our family serving yours since 1984.
Equal opportunity employer.
Lucas Tree Service is a certified arborist and a local family-owned business with over 45 years of experience. They specialize in tree removal, trimming, and stump grinding for both residential and commercial properties. Get prepared for storm season and receive top-notch customer service from Lucas Tree Service, 904-241-3533. Online at lucastreeservice.com.
1010XL, presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah. Here's another call on the 1010XL hotline, driven by Key Buick GMC, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. Another OTA in the books for the Jacksonville Jaguars. They were out there earlier today at the Miller Electric Center. They have a couple of more OTAs, a mini camp, and we can actually say now that training camp begins next month here in Jacksonville. That is hard to believe. Jamal St. Cyr of Channel 4 was down there today. It was always good seeing Jamal, and he joins us here on Hacker After Dark. Jamal, how we doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I was until you reminded me that training camp's next month. Come on now. We still got a long way to go. Don't do that to me yet.
Yeah, well, guys like you and I, we got to enjoy our vacations when we can. I just got back from one. We don't want to wish time away. That's what I've learned over the years. I used to be that guy, Jamal, that was like, all right, 119 days till football season. I very, very rarely do that anymore. I kind of like to enjoy the ride because I know once it gets here how busy things get.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm chomping at the bit. Like, you can diagnose my symptoms right now, missing football for sure. But I definitely, you try and enjoy the time between, because once we get there, like once training camp gets there, you're going to blink and it's February, and especially now with an expectation that the Jaguars try and make a postseason run, you're hoping and expecting at least one postseason game, right? So that's deeper into January. Yeah, it's a long road, man. Long road, Hacker. But at least I feel comfortable. I will tell you, as a media person, I hate coaching searches. Bane of my existence. So I am the biggest supporter of a good head coach.
And it appears the Jaguars have one with Liam Cohen. I always tell
Absolutely.
people as well, for OTAs, mini camp, training camp, if you can't make it out to the Miller Electric Center, all you have to do is follow Jamal St. Cyr on Twitter. I don't know how you do it, but you tweet out like every play that goes on. This wide receiver beat this DB on a slant route, or this running back juked this linebacker for a touchdown. Jamal is insane when it comes to social media. So I know you remember everything that transpired earlier today. Jamal, from a mile-high view, what was your takeaway of today's OTA practice?
Look, it's tough to put too much stock in these types of practices, right? Like, there are guys that'll show up in the shorts and then they never become what they look like. They're summer all-stars. They're all-stars in shorts, these superheroes during the off season, and then it doesn't translate. But there are other guys that show up and then it turns into something, right? We've been talking about Parker Washington. He's been one of the guys that shined during these off-season workouts a year ago, even the year before that, showing out. And he finally gets his opportunity, and now everybody has even higher expectations. And we're like, look, this is what we have been seeing from this guy. Same thing with Buster Brown. A year ago, he looked really good during this time of year. He took his game up to another level out there on the football field. Now he's rocking the number one. So the expectation is sky high. And you know what? Those guys are both still doing some really good things out there. Another guy, definitely Brian Thomas Jr. You can tell that there's a focus on trying to build that rhythm with Trevor Lawrence, especially down the football field. So that's something that we'll be keeping our eye on because they keep kind of stretching the football field in that way. But if there's a guy that's off the path, I think right now all eyes have to be on Bashal Tutin. With Chris Rodriguez sidelined, Tutin is getting the opportunity to take all these reps at running back and just working in with LaQuint Allen. This is Tutin's chance, if he's going to be the bell cow, to take control of that backfield.
Jamal St. Cyr of Channel 4 with us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Clearly, one of the big stories is that backfield and who replaces ETN. You mentioned Tutin, obviously Chris Rodriguez. I'll tell you this, too. LaQuint Allen Jr. looks better in the number 5. I don't know how juvenile that sounds, but it looks just different seeing LaQuint Allen in the number 5 as opposed to the 36 he was rocking last year. And I'll tell you this, too. A guy to keep your eye on, maybe you've noticed him. I was talking with Gerald Ingram earlier today, the former 18-year NFL running back coach that we have on the fifth quarter every Sunday. I heard Tom McManus talk about this guy as well, is Taylor, the rookie from Virginia, the undrafted free agent, number 30. He's opening some eyes up there as well. Do you think, with all that being said, that they have enough to replace ETN going into the year?
Well, that's tough. I mean, all of these guys are unproven. They don't have a single proven commodity in that backfield, right? Look, you can expect that LaQuint Allen can take a jump from a year ago, but a year ago he was the short yardage back. So you really have no idea. Chris Rodriguez has really never had a volume of opportunities. They don't have a guy that's been there and done that. For LaQuint, you're projecting. Like, I can look at Tutin and say, man, he looks explosive. If you start giving this guy carries, it's only a matter of time before he pops one. But he hasn't done it yet. Chris Rodriguez, they can say, oh, the analytics look great. He's a tough-nosed runner. He's going to be great with the volume, physical. But he hasn't done it in the league. LaQuint Allen, I can look at him and compare him to Rashad White, who Liam Cohen used in Tampa Bay in all kind of ways, and say, look, you already know he can pass block. If he can show you he can do what he did at Syracuse in the NFL, he's a dark horse to make his way into this running back rotation, but he hasn't done it. Same thing with Jamari Taylor, an undrafted free agent guy that slides in that was nothing but productive in his college career. He's definitely got an uphill battle. I think he's a guy that I definitely like coming in. I think the key for Jamari Taylor to get on the roster is going to be Kenny kickoff return.
Yeah, special teams for a guy like that, there's absolutely no doubt. That's the running back question. Obviously, the other one is who replaces Devin Lloyd. And you and I have talked about that this offseason, but now we're starting to see these guys on the field. Ventrell Miller, obviously. Branson Combs, who I think it's about time that I have a one-on-one with Branson Combs, because I don't even think I've talked to that guy at all, and yet we're talking about him potentially replacing Devin Lloyd, and I thought he looked good out there today. Jack Kaiser, but I think Kaiser's more in the Foye backup role as opposed to a guy that could replace Devin Lloyd, and I still say that if there's one spot on the roster, Jamal, where I could see them bringing in a veteran free agent, it would be at linebacker. What's your overall thought on that linebacker room right now?
It's interesting. A lot of young guys there that are fighting for a job. Obviously, Ventrell's the front runner to try and earn the spot. There were some open reps today. Foye Oluokun didn't compete during the competitive periods and was watching from the side, so that did give a few extra reps for guys like Jack Kaiser and Parker Hughes out there to get some reps. Man, look, the rookie Parker Hughes. I'll tell you this: the 40 time shows up on the football field. When that kid sticks his foot in the ground and decides to go a direction, he gets there fast. I don't know that they have another linebacker that moves like him. Is he going to have the eye discipline to be able to go out there and make plays as a rookie that you need in the NFL, since the game obviously going to be faster than it was at Middle Tennessee? That's yet to be seen. But I'll tell you one thing: when he decides to get to a spot, he gets there and gets there quick.
Jamal St. Cyr of Channel 4, along those lines, you mentioned linebacker. I can go offensive line. You can go tight end now with the addition of the two rookies. A lot of other spots as well, wide receiver. Last year, one of the common thoughts was James Gladstone saying we're going to raise the floor of the roster. And I think they accomplished that. And I think they're filling in some gaps, because I look at, particularly O-line's a prime example. You got 4 backups on this team: Walker Little, Chuma Edoga, Jonah Monheim, and Wyatt Milam, that played significant snaps for the Jaguars a year ago. I don't know how many NFL teams have 9 offensive linemen that played a lot of football in 2025. And that just goes to show you the depth that has been added to this team over the last year and a half.
Yeah, I think they've done a really good job of building this thing out. There's definitely some depth along that offensive line. The question is how much confidence you have in some of those depth guys, right? Walker Little, he's had his struggles. Even to the point where he had lost the starting job at midway through the season last year during one of the reps during their competitive periods. Josh Hines-Allen, he would have had a pretty big hit on Trevor Lawrence, if not a sack, after he got past Walker Little. But obviously, OTAs, you ain't hitting the quarterback. So not the best thing to see, but they aren't in pads. It's not quite as physical, but these are things that you got to watch. How much confidence do you have from that in these guys? Wyatt Milam last year, really, he wasn't healthy most of the way. He was finally kind of getting that knee under him toward late in the season. He did get some more reps. Can he build off of that? Is he able to prove he can be the swing tackle of the future, or is he going to stay inside at guard for you and give you some real good guard depth alongside Monheim? But they definitely do have at least some project kind of guys to go in there. Plus, you mentioned the guys that have been there, done that, and we have high expectations for Emmanuel Pregnon to be mixed into there. So there's reason to have confidence in the way they've put together, especially that offensive line unit.
We know Hines-Allen, obviously, Trayvon, obviously, but another year and another question is who's going to be edge 3 and 4 behind those two. I'll tell you this. I don't know if this means very much in the month of June. Strigal looks bigger than he got last year. He looks like he has really dedicated himself in the weight room. I really like what I see out of 92. BJ Green in the mix as well. Obviously, they drafted a couple of guys in Williams from Duke and Durfee from Washington. You bring back a Dennis Gardeck, who I actually spoke with earlier today down at OTAs. So I like the depth at edge, but you're looking for who that number 3 guy is going to be, because you certainly need probably a third guy to spell Hines-Allen and Walker. I got my eye on Strigal, Jamal. He looks, like I said, just bigger than he was a year ago.
Let me tell you, Wesley Williams at least looks the part. You look at that guy out there on the football field, he looks like an NFL defensive end. Now, can he play? We're yet to see. All of this is, the defensive end room is one of the hardest ones to project. If you start saying a place where maybe you look for that veteran addition, again, that third end. Do you want to keep all these young guys on the roster? Absolutely you do. But same thing with the running back room, where at some point you want a little bit of been there, done that, right? BJ Green and Danny Strigal played last season, but they were playing in limited roles. They did see their roles grow. Can they take another step? And then you got 2 rookies coming in Wesley Williams and Zach Durfee. You really don't know how they're going to adjust to the NFL until you get to that point. So a lot of interesting stuff to keep an eye on there for sure. And we're going to have to see how it all comes together. But I am a believer that I think BJ Green and Danny Strigal are going to both take a step. They both look bigger. They both look focused. And I think neither one of them is going to back down from a little competition.
It's June 1st. They would save a lot of money if they cut Eric Armstead. Do you think they will cut Eric Armstead, or will he be here on opening day?
Unless you got another move up your sleeve, I don't think you can afford to do it.
And
I just don't think
I
you can do
agree.
that.
I mean, it'd be $14 million in savings, but I was talking with a couple of guys out there today. That's all fine and well, but what's your interior D-line room look like without Armstead? And it does not look very good.
Right. And that's the thing. Are you improving your salary cap situation? Absolutely, but are you improving your roster is the question. Like, unless you have another move up your sleeve, you don't make that move. If you make that move, then you have to do something to replace Eric Armstead, because if not, you're putting all of your chips on Ruka Rororo being the solution there in the interior at that 3 technique. I mean, right now, I wouldn't rule it out. I think there's going to be at some point this season we see Rook and Eric Armstead on the interior of that defensive line, at least at times, together to really get after the quarterback a little bit. So I don't think they want to take one of those guys out just voluntarily. I'd be surprised. I mean, think about it, Hacker. This is the first time we've seen Eric Armstead participate in this time of the offseason since he's been here.
Mm-hmm.
Before that, he's just been sitting around watching. So I think he knows there's a little bit of pressure on him to get out there and really produce at a high level, and understands that price tag. But I just don't see it. I know there's been a lot of conversation about it. There was a lot of talk about leading up to the draft, the need at defensive tackle in order for them to be able to do that, but they didn't address it that way. So I expect Armstead to be on the roster when everything's said and done. They get down to 53.
Jamal, final question. Now we have 1 rookie minicamp and 2 OTA practices that have been open to the media. So obviously it's not a very a long list of guys that could have an opportunity to stand out to us. We'll know a lot more, late July, early August. But is there a guy that maybe no one's talking about that has at least caught your eye through the first couple of OTAs?
I really like what I've seen from CJ Williams so far. If you watch, I think you can already start to see just the volume of targets he's getting in his reps with Nick Mullins. He's already earned Nick's trust. So I really like that. So I think he's a guy who's really caught my attention. Brady Boyd, another wide receiver there. He's explosive. I don't know if he has enough juice or had an opportunity to really show that yet on the football field enough. But the other guy's Preston Hodge, the undrafted cornerback out of Colorado. We've had 2 open practices. He's made a play each day. An interception in OTA 1, and then forced a fumble today out there on the field. So he's another guy who's kind of flying under the radar a little bit that I think is worth keeping an eye on. So that gives you 2 rookies that I don't think a whole lot of people are talking about, but it's just worth, okay, let's see what happens.
Yeah, I agree with Hodge. What is he, 26? Or is it 26?
Yep.
Or 30? Yeah, I think he's 26.
I keep seeing it, and I say Antonio Johnson in my head.
Right.
And then
yeah, and I agree because Johnson's 6 now, but I totally agree. I saw 26 out there today, and I go, ooh, who is that? And then I had to look at the roster sheet, and it was Preston Hodge. So great minds think alike, and apparently you and I do as well, because that is certainly a guy that also stood out to me. What do you have coming up on Channel 4 as OTAs continue?
Hey, we're rolling through it. You can always track our coverage down over on newsforjacks.com. And like Hacker said, I try my best to roll out as much social media content over on Twitter. That's JSTCYRTV each day that we're out there.
They need to do a 30 for 30 on how Jamal St. Cyr can tweet 100 times during a 1-hour practice. It is the thing of legends. There is no doubt about that. Jamal, appreciate you, my friend. I'll see you out there next week.
All right, anytime, Hacker.
Bring in the heat. Your station for summertime fun. 1010XL, your summertime fun station.
I'm Frank Frangie, and I can tell you as Walk-Off Charities has grown, we now manage a large athletic facility with numerous fields, including the Bregan Baseball Complex. To get around, we needed a good, reliable golf cart. I went straight to Dynamic Drives and Design in Jack's Peak. I met with Travis, told him exactly what our needs were. Would you believe before you knew it, the perfect cart was delivered to us at an incredible price? If you need a golf cart, Travis and his team are the go-to. Learn more about them at dynamicdrivesdesign.com.
Hey, it's Greg, and I'm now 4 weeks into my Awaken 180 journey to lose 40 pounds in 10 weeks. And I'm already down over 20 pounds. That's average 5 pounds a week. I'm eating real food, good food, and feeling satisfied. And yeah, people are noticing. I'm getting comments like, you're looking slimmer, or when's the last time you wore that shirt? That feels pretty good. Some people ask, hey, are you taking the shots or pills or whatever? But my doctor advised me about the potential long-term side effects and the commitment. Shortcut was not the answer. I wanted a realistic solution that definitely works. A clear plan with an actual human coach so I'd learn the right way to lose weight quickly and safely and keep it off. And that's exactly what Awaken 180 has given me, a clear, easy plan to lose 40 pounds in 10 weeks. And I'm already halfway there. So look, if you're unsure or been putting it off or like me, just finding excuses, I'm proof that Awaken 180 works. How would you feel being down 20, 40, even 100 pounds? Make the choice. Go to awaken180weightloss.com.
Listening that fits your schedule perfectly.
Absolutely brilliant.
Go on demand.
Ad-free shows after the live shows end.
How about that? Channel by
Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic and Air Conditioning. Search where you find podcasts.
Bueller.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Hey, I haven't seen you in a while, pal. Where have you been?
Out on the town, every night.
Way to go, Tiger.
Well, it's a bit of a mystery, Jason. I'm not sure what's going on, but I'm getting all these Visa gift cards in the mail. I'm spending them as fast as I can, but...
Wait, you're getting random gift cards in the mail?
$25, $100. I'm buying drinks, I'm buying dinner. I don't think I'm cut out to be a social butterfly, Jason.
Pal, those are from our Bueller Air and Plumbing referral program.
They are?
Yeah. If you recommend Bueller Air and Plumbing to a friend or family member and they book us for a service call, we send you a $25 Visa gift card as a thank you. And if we install a new system, we send a $100 gift card.
So if I take a girl out and tell her about Bueller, I might get enough to take another girl out and tell her about Bueller?
I mean, it's not the worst idea you've had.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
Has someone you care about been arrested or had their driver's license taken away? I'm Susan Cohen, and I work with David Robbins at the law firm of Epstein & Robbins. We are experienced fighters for those charged with DUI, domestic violence, and all criminal offenses. In your battle with the justice system, there's only one thing you need to know. Dial David 24/7 at Epstein & Robbins, 354-5645. 354-5645.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch. This is Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Approaching halftime, Hacker After Dark, 1 hour down, 1 hour to go. We'll take you up till 10 o'clock, as we do every night right here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Thank you to Jamal St. Cyr of Channel 4. Coming up next, about 10 minutes away, Sal Capaccio, WGR 550 in Buffalo. Every year, we do an 8-week countdown leading up to Jaguar training camp. We will go one NFL division per week, check in with all 4 teams, review their offseason, and get the outlook from that market heading into 2026. We always begin in the AFC East. So this week you will hear from Miami, from the Jets, from the Patriots, but we always kick it off with Sal Capaccio, WGR Radio in Buffalo, one of 32 that we will hear from over the next 8 weeks. This week is the AFC East, and Sal Capaccio up in Buffalo will join us to look back on the Buffalo Bills offseason coming up here in less than 10 minutes. What a day around the National Football League. Obviously, 2 gigantic trades, the first of which, A.J. Brown, long rumored to be on his way to New England, finally is in exchange for a 2028 first-round pick. There's also a 2027 mid-rounder involved. So the Patriots essentially replace Stephon Diggs with A.J. Brown. The Eagles get a first-round pick in 2028. And most days, that would be the biggest trade in the NFL. Not today. A blockbuster. And sometimes that word is thrown around. No, this was a blockbuster trade earlier today. Myles Garrett, the man that holds the NFL single-season sack record. In fact, he got it, I believe, on his final snap now in Cleveland, amazingly enough. Traded today from the Cleveland Browns to the LA Rams. In exchange, Cleveland gets Jared Verse, former Florida State defensive end. He's already been to the Pro Bowl twice. A very, very good young pass rusher. They also get a first-round pick in 2027. I believe, a second-round pick in 2028, and like a third-round pick in 2029. Basically, though, on the surface, it's Jared Verse and a 2027 first-round pick for Myles Garrett. Now, Myles Garrett is 30 years old. He'll be 31 in December. Still, obviously, at the top of his game. He just set the NFL single-season sack record. Aaron, you're the only Rams fan that, honestly, I know that lives in Jacksonville. Quickly, your reaction, because to me, the Rams won this trade. I have no trepidation saying the Rams won, but I will say that people are saying that Cleveland got obliterated and it was a terrible move. Jared Verse, a 2027 first and draft capital in 28 and 29, I don't think is the worst move for Cleveland. I mean, we'll see. Obviously, Myles Garrett's better than Jared Verse now, but if you talk about 25 and under pass rushers in the NFL, a top 10 list, Jared Verse would absolutely be on that list. So Myles Garrett's the headliner, but I don't hate it from a Cleveland perspective.
Yeah, it's anything but a terrible move for Cleveland. I mean, they have a beast in Jared Verse along with some draft picks there. So the Cleveland Browns will be fine from the Jared Verse standpoint. But as for the Rams, at first I was a little taken back by it, didn't like it. But after thinking about it, I mean, you have no other choice but to win the Super Bowl now with this roster, and you add a Myles Garrett, and Les Snead is just as just shown time and time again that he just does not care about draft picks. They will rather get a player that they know will be immediate impact and use those draft picks as leverage to get other people to get them. Love the move, but you got to go win it. You got to go win it now.
And odds are this is going to be Matt Stafford's final year. That's at least the thought going in. So now you get Myles Garrett. Reportedly, the Rams were trying to give even more draft capital to Cleveland to keep Jared Verse, but apparently it was Jared Verse or the trade wasn't happening from the Cleveland side. So I think the Rams begrudgingly gave Jared Verse away to get Myles Garrett. Again, great move by the Rams. I just don't think it's as bad for Cleveland as some are making it out to be. But again, when you get Jared Verse, Myles Garrett, and A.J. Brown all getting traded on the same day, pretty crazy day in the National Football League. No question about that. Our NFL division previews kick off next. Sal Capaccio, WGR Radio in Buffalo. We'll start our AFC East preview later in the week. We will go to Miami. We will go to New York. And we will go to New England. Tonight, we begin in Buffalo, the first of 32 team previews over the next 8 weeks leading up to Jaguar training camp. Sal Capaccio, WGR in Buffalo, reviewing the Bills offseason next here on Hacker After Dark.
The home of Jaguars fans.
We are Jaguars! We're too old to die, baby.
1010XL.
The 2026 schedule is here, and Jaguars football is officially back at the bank. With limited capacity this season, it's more important than ever to show up loud and create the ultimate home field advantage. From our biggest rivalries to can't-miss matchups, this is a season you won't want to miss. Single game tickets are on sale, and now's the time to lock in your seats for the games that matter most. Inventory is limited, and tickets are expected to go fast. Visit Jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000.
Relive the music of Journey live at Florida Theater with Voyage, the world's premier Journey tribute band. Hear all the hits performed with stunning accuracy and arena rock energy. Experience Voyage June 11th at Florida Theater. Get tickets now at floridatheater.com.
The boys are back in the kitchen.
Don't start the barbecue without me.
Joe, Matt, and Leon give you plenty to chew on during lunchtime.
Freshly baked bread.
From the big #1 Duval Ford Studios.
Thank you for lunch, boys.
Noon to 2 weekdays on 1010XL.
First Tee North Florida's Summer Soiree returns Thursday, June 11th from 6 to 9 p.m. at the Yards. This year's theme is Stars, Stripes, and Summer Nights. Bring the whole family for live music, games, raffles, activities for all ages, and great food. One food voucher included with every ticket, provided by Taco Lou. Adult tickets are $30. Kids 5 to 17 are $20, and kids under 5 are free. Upgrade to VIP for $60 with beer, wine, and liquor included. Get tickets now at firstteenorthflorida.org/events.
The flagship station of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Hacker here for Cornerstone Interior Solutions. If your AC is working overtime every summer, your insulation may be the problem. Homeowners and builders across Northeast Florida are calling Cornerstone to upgrade to spray foam insulation. It seals homes, crawl spaces, garages, blocking in cool air and blocking out heat. So your home stays cooler, your system runs easier, and your energy bills stay under control. Don't wait for peak heat. Visit CornerstoneInteriorSolutions.com.
ET here, and basketball and hockey are heating up. And the best place to catch every rivalry, every dunk and every goal, and every nail-biter is at Twin Peaks, your ultimate sports lodge. Fuel your watch party with scratch-made favorites, legendary wings, and 29-degree draft beer that stays colder than the ringside. With wall-to-wall TVs, you're locked into the action from tip-off to the final buzzer. Bring your crew and rep your team. Make every game day a win. Only at Twin Peaks. Eat, drink, scenic views.
Hey, Googans, Hicken here, and I just want to once again give you this very simple reminder. Wear sunscreen. If you're outside a lot, bring the screen. Put some in your truck, on your boat, in your golf bag, whatever, wherever, just use it. Please. It's hot out there, and I just want you to protect yourself. I use it like it's cool because I think it is, but what's not cool, that's skin cancer. You don't want to deal with that. Go get yourself checked out. It could save your life. Go to beachesdermatology.com and schedule your appointment today. That's beachesdermatology.com.
Tom McManus here for Armstrong Fence Company, a locally owned and operated business on the First Coast for nearly 20 years. Known for reliability, quality craftsmanship, and professional service, Armstrong Fence handles it all, from big projects like stadiums and schools to your very own backyard. They build a wicked strong fence, and they do it right the first time. When you need a fence in Jacksonville, trust Armstrong Fence Company. Yeah, we did the fence.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch. Hacker, After Dark, on 1010XL.
Sal Capaccio, WGR 550 in Buffalo, kicking off our AFC East Division preview is 60 seconds away, but as we do from time to time here on Hacker After Dark, we like to give back to the hardworking men and women of Northeast Florida. And right now at 9:08 Eastern Standard Time, by the way, that's 3:08 in Hawaii, which is what I was used to for the last 9 days, but 9:08 Eastern Standard Time. Aaron Williams, what do we have for the good folks this evening?
Tonight we got a family 4-pack of tickets to see men's Sporting Jacks versus the Tampa Bay Rowdies on June 6th. That's June 6th. So I believe is that this Friday?
Yeah, that's coming up this week. That's right.
Yep. So family 4-pack here June 6th. You and your family can go ahead and see them on June 6th, Hacker.
Because it's a family 4-pack to Sporting Jacks, we will take caller 4 right now. 904-641-1010, 904-641-1010. If you want to have a nice night out with the family, seeing some tremendous soccer, which, by the way, the World Cup is right around the corner. That'll get the juices flowing. Be caller 4 right now, and Aaron Williams will hook you up with that family 4-pack. Sal Capaccio, WGR Radio in Buffalo, kicks off our AFC East previews.
Here's another call on the 1010XL hotline, driven by Key Buick GMC, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville, we are glad you are with us. One division per week leading up to the start of Jaguar training camp, and we kick it off with the AFC East, the Bills, the Patriots. Obviously, you got the Jets and the Dolphins. We will make stops in Miami and New York and New England. But we always start this. It's actually the first of 32 every single year. I don't know how it happened, but this is about year 4 now of it happening. My buddy Sal Capaccio, WGR 550 up in Buffalo. He's our guy when it comes to the Buffalo Bills, and he's always in the leadoff spot for our NFL division previews. Sal, how you doing, pal?
Pretty good, buddy. Good to talk to you as always.
Yeah, Sal, we always appreciate the time. Boy, what an off season in Buffalo. After you ripped out our hearts here, you guys got your hearts ripped out a week later at Mile High, and then Sean McDermott gets fired, which to me, Sal, caught me way off guard. I was stunned, quite frankly. What was the reaction to the McDermott firing and obviously the hire of Joe Brady afterwards?
Well, there were a lot of people who believed that maybe if the Bills, didn't advance on and ultimately get to the Super Bowl, that could happen. Either Sean McDermott and or Brandon Beane, their general manager. I was surprised, but it was always lingering there that, after 9 years, if you don't get ultimately to where people think you should get to, then maybe that can happen. So I think that there was some surprise from some people, and then other people said, okay, well, it's time. I would say that the biggest surprise might have been that one was kept and the other was fired, meaning Brandon Beane was kept, Sean McDermott was fired. Some people thought they both might be gone in this scenario, and some thought it would be the other way around, to be quite honest with you. Maybe Sean would be kept and Brandon Beane would be fired. But that being said, Terry Pegula ultimately made the decision to move on from Sean McDermott. And he said, we've hit the proverbial playoff wall, as he called it. He wanted a new energy in the building, a new direction for the organization. But that being said, just at head coach, because you have the same general manager. Then you hire Joe Brady, who is absolutely a different vibe, a different energy than Sean McDermott. Sean is, really kind of buttoned up, a little more close to the vest, conservative kind of personality. That is not Joe Brady. Joe Brady is South Florida guy. He's super energetic. He's out there all the time, showing his stripes kind of, so to speak. And I do think you get that sense now over the last couple of months in the building. Will it be any different on the field? I don't know, but it's certainly different, I think, in the building.
WGR 550, Sal Capaccio with us here on 1010XL as our AFC East preview kicks off tonight, talking Buffalo Bills. When it comes to Joe Brady, boy, there was a lot of interviews. In fact, I believe Brady interviewed down here until ultimately Liam Cohen got the job. So the Bills, I guess, dodged a lot of bullets that Brady did not take other opportunities and ultimately stayed and is now the head man there. Was that the plan all along, maybe behind closed doors, that he would ultimately succeed Sean McDermott, which is maybe why Brady wasn't willing to, take any other job?
No, I don't think it was the plan all along. I think that, they did their due diligence. They went through other interviews. I mean, they brought Brian Dable back for an interview. A lot of people thought that he was going to be the next head coach for the success that he had with Josh Allen when he was here. You had the Jacksonville offensive coordinator. His name escapes me right
Grant
now.
Udinski. I know he interviewed a couple of times up there, I believe.
Yeah, Udinski was on the list. There were several guys, who the Bills, reached out to. I don't think it was all like a fait accompli for Joe Brady, but I do think here's where I think I ultimately land on this, to be honest with you, Ryan. And I think you have to kind of piece it together this way, which is I think the Bills organization, Brandon Beane, I think they wanted a new defense, and you can't have a new defense if you have Sean McDermott still as your head coach. I think this change was more about even the defense than it was about the head coach itself. But they loved their offense. I mean, they were still great last year on offense. And even though they might have had a dip, so to speak, and, in some metrics, they're still one of the top scoring teams in the league. And I think they wanted to keep that train running. And Joe Brady has a great relationship with Josh Allen. So they elevate him from offensive coordinator to head coach. But if you want to change the defense, you almost have to change the head coach because the head coach runs the defense.
There's no doubt how good Josh Allen is. You and I have had that talk. You've had that talk a million times over the last, almost decade now. But I remember, we saw him turn into Superman here and eliminate the Jaguars. But then the very next week, that loss to Denver, that was a a very solemn press conference that Josh Allen had. I've never seen him, to that extent upset about a loss. How much is that sticking with this team that lost last year? And just summer, I'm sure you were in the room. I mean, that just was a bizarre press conference, just the solemnness in that room.
Well, I think when you're, 9 years into a league, 9 years into a regime, 8 years in for Josh Allen, and you have an MVP, you're considered the best player in the sport by many, or very close to it, and you haven't gotten ultimately to that level. I think that that's some reality setting in of, man, when is this ever going to happen? On top of that, I think maybe there was an underlying, people think maybe Josh realized maybe Sean would get fired, or there was some talk of that. I don't really know if that's the case or not. I think people feel like they let each other down in that scenario. I also think they felt that they lost to a team they shouldn't have lost to, and Josh did not play his best game. There's no doubt about that. It wasn't all on Josh, of course. One of the turnovers was a sack that he got, hit from behind, and another one was obviously on him when he's trying to run and do a little too much, and he's not holding on to the ball. The play at the end of the game, obviously, that everybody talked about, the replay, it wasn't replayed, whatever, with Elijah Moore. And, Brandon Cooks, excuse me, not Elijah Moore, Brandon Cooks. I mean, there was a lot that went into it. So, yeah, I mean, look, I just think that the weight of the past failures all came to a head in one game in Denver, which is why you saw that.
Sal Capaccio, WGR 550 in Buffalo, with us here on 1010XL. I got to ask you about Keon Coleman because he is a former Florida State Seminole, and one of the takeaways I had from that press conference where they fired Sean McDermott was essentially Keon Coleman getting absolutely obliterated to me by Bill's ownership. And I thought it was kind of unfair to have Keon Coleman's name there. Has he lived up to expectation? No, but I know that was a big topic nationally, and I even think you and I might have talked about that after the fact, that maybe in Buffalo it wasn't looked at it that way. But quite frankly, Sal, I'm shocked Keon Coleman's still on the roster after some of the things that were said about him. What's your thought there?
Yeah, it was a big talking point here, no doubt. I mean, we were all kind of in the same, mindset as you just laid it out. But I think what happened in that press conference was Terry Pegula, the owner, wanted to make it clear that it wasn't just Brandon Beane picking players and Sean McDermott coaching them. Because going back to what I said earlier, a lot of people felt Brandon Beane was the one that maybe should have been fired and not Sean McDermott because of the roster. And Terry Pegula wanted to make it clear, no. Sean McDermott had a hand in the roster, and he used Keon Coleman, unfortunately, as an example of the coaches were the ones that kind of wanted Keon Coleman, not Brandon Beane necessarily. So I think he kind of caught a stray there, so to speak, as the kids say, right? Like, hey, I want to show you that it wasn't just Brandon Beane picking players and Sean McDermott coaching. Sean McDermott and his staff, they were the ones that wanted certain players like Keon Coleman. Well, Keon Coleman, as we know, has not worked out the way that, Bills fans and, the team has wanted him to so far. That being said, the minute that happened, obviously people were wondering, and I've been thinking all offseason they would move on from him, but at every turn we heard Brandon Beane and Joe Brady say, we have faith in Keon Coleman. We believe in Keon Coleman. And the biggest issue Keon Coleman has, Ryan, is his tardiness. And look, he hasn't been super productive on the field. We know that. But he's been benched multiple times because he hasn't been to places on time. He's a hard worker. When he's out on the field, he's a great kid. He's a good person. But it's just he's had trouble being on time and late for meetings and things like that. Well, Joe Brady gets hired. He says, first thing he did when he got hired was call Keon Coleman and say, the best thing ever happened for you was me be your head coach. And ever since then, they've just have this unwavering faith publicly on Keon Coleman. And I still wonder if maybe between now and August they move on from him. But I do think now I'm about pretty close to, no, I think he's a lock. He's here, and they're going to see this through.
Wow, that would be interesting. And boy, if he ends up having a resurgent career there, my goodness, after some of the things that were said in that press conference. We always talk about the lack of playmakers at the wide receiver position, Sal, or at least that's the narrative around Buffalo. And then they go out and they bring in DJ Moore. Now, is DJ Moore the same guy he was 3 or 4 years ago? I don't know, but he's still a playmaker. There's no doubt. And I would imagine they're expecting DJ Moore to have a big, big factor in that offense.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the Bills' mantra ever since they don't have Stephon Diggs is everybody eats. They believe in just spreading the ball around, not locking in on one receiver, not having one guy take the lion's share, and just everybody does their role, and then everybody's going to be able to, as they say, eat, but, enjoying the success. But I think that what's happened along the way by doing that is they've kind of really missed out on having a guy that's the go-to guy, and they need one of those guys, and that's DJ Moore. And let's remember, DJ Moore played for Joe Brady in Carolina when he was in Carolina coaching, and that's actually when he had his best season of his career at over 1,300 yards. Joe Brady knows DJ Moore. DJ Moore's excited about being with Joe Brady again. I think he's going to find creative ways to get him involved. And yeah, I think he's going to be kind of that number one go-to guy. At the time they made the trade, second-round pick, people were like, man, that seems like a lot. But then you see the Jalen Waddle trade, you see other deals that come down, and then you see that maybe this wasn't as good of a draft class as others at wide receiver, and you know why the Bills gave up a second-round pick. But there's definitely a belief here that DJ Moore is still a very good player who's going to put up really productive numbers in this offense.
Obviously, you bring in DJ Moore, you got Josh Allen, and we got to mention James Cook, who I think might be the most underrated running back in the league. I still think when you talk about the top 5, running backs in the league, a lot of people leave James Cook out. I'm not sure if he should be left out. He is absolutely fantastic. And that trio right there of Allen, Moore, and Cook is going to be among the better ones in the league when the season starts.
Yeah, and James Cook, you're right, just doesn't get the accolades, I think, nationally in league circles that so many other running backs do. And I guess that's just because he has Josh Allen as his quarterback. And maybe people think he's a product of teams focusing on Josh Allen and, not him. But, man, he is fantastic. I mean, this guy really, his contact balance, his vision, it's really thing. He's had some great seasons already. And, last year, he had a hold in at training camp, and people were like, no, you can't pay a running back as much as he wants. Well, they wind up giving him, $11 million a year or whatever it was, and it now seems like a steal, right, for the money that some of these guys are making for what he was able to do. And I'd say that I'd add a fourth to that. I still think that Dalton Kincaid is one of the better tight ends in this league, and he's been dealing with a knee injury the last couple of years, and that seems to be cleaned up. And I think the Bills are expecting big things from Dalton Kincaid this year as well.
Sal Capaccio, WGR 550 in Buffalo. Sal, as we begin to wrap up, you look around the division, I think the common thought going in is that it's the Bills, Patriots, in whatever order you want to put them in, and then there's a gap. And then there's Jets, Dolphins, in whatever order you want to put them in. Is that how you see it coming into the year?
Yeah, for sure. But I think I'd put the Jets ahead of the Dolphins. The Dolphins seem like they're very much in reset mode right now. There's, the tank word has been thrown around a few times, the Dolphins and what they're doing. And I don't know if that's necessarily true, but I think that they understand that they have to kind of reset their organization a bit. They go out and they get Malik Willis at quarterback. And, I don't know, they don't really have necessarily these great wide receivers to throw to, but, we're going to see how they try to patch it together on the fly here. They have a new regime. I think the Jets are a bit more of a, hey, we need to start winning here mode. They have a third-year head coach in Aaron Glenn now coming in, and or is this second year, whatever. Aaron Glenn, I can't remember now. He's hired a year or two ago, but either way, the point is, I think that they feel that they have to start, being better than they have been. And they went out, and I thought they had a good offseason. They had good draft picks. I think, they had a bunch. They had a few first rounders, made some key signings in free agency, but they can't compete with the Bills or Jets or Bills or Patriots right now, I think. And that's the big question. Is it still the Patriots division, or was last year a little bit more of a mirage because they had lesser of a schedule? And I think a lot of people believe that. The Bills are a very heavy favorite to win the division. I think that the Patriots are still a good team, but I do think the Bills are looking to reclaim that division crown, and I think they have every opportunity to do so.
Sal, final question, 60 seconds. That stadium up there looks amazing. I know it's going to be opened week 2 of the regular season and on national TV. I'm sure you've toured it many times. We're getting a brand new one down here as well, so we can't wait for 2028. But, boy, that new Bills stadium looks absolutely spectacular.
Yeah, it's going to be great. We're excited about it. It's going to be fun. And more than anything, just knowing the Bills are here for another, generations to come. And growing up, I was always told the Bills were going to leave. And, now my son, who's 12, I can tell him they're going to be staying, and he's going to be able to watch them. It's going to be super awesome. Can't wait to be in there for regular season games. And, it's you guys are going to enjoy the process and seeing yours come to fruition as well.
Sal Capaccio, WGR 550 in Buffalo. Sal, thank you so much for the time. We'll do it again soon, pal.
You got it, buddy. Thanks a lot.
Some people search a lifetime and never find it.
I found it.
You found it.
I found it! Guys! I found
1010XL.
Awaken 180 weight loss. Awaken 180 weight loss. Hacker here for the best weight loss program that I've ever been on. And one of the great things about Awaken 180 is they understand that life happens, right? I just went on a vacation to Hawaii, right? I indulged. That's what you do on vacation. But when you get back right with your coaching on Awaken 180. They make a plan. They set up a routine for you. That's the great thing about Awaken 180. They don't send you shots in the mail and say, all right, have fun, or some appetite suppressant pill and say, we'll talk to you, 3 months down the road. No, you talk with them every week. You have a coach. My coach, Kate, I met with her every single week when I was on the Awaken 180 program, and I still meet with the Awaken 180 team now on the maintenance program. If it's time for you to drop the weight, like it was for me, do it with knowledge, do it with understanding, and do it with coaching that absolutely works. Go to awaken180weightloss.com. That's awaken180weightloss.com, or call 844-346-1800 and do what I did and get hooked up with the great folks of Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Rick Ballou for Coy Dental. That's right, Carlson Dental is now Coy Dental. Dr. Lee has been practicing there for 9 years, has purchased the company. The Coy Dental team still has the same great dentists and staff. And remember, if you get nervous visiting a dentist, don't. There's never a problem at Coy Dental, with light sedation for cleaning and deep sedation for all your restorative needs. Coy Dental, located in Bartram Park.
Hi, this is Dale Murray with Murray Automotive Group in Stark and Kingsland. Save yourself from those big city dealers and their fast-talking mumbo-jumbo. No matter what your automotive need is, we've got you covered. Ford, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, and nobody beats our prices. I mean nobody. Shazam! Plus our exclusive 15-year, 150,000-mile warranty included on every qualified vehicle. And we'll trade anything from high heels to wagon wheels. Compare our prices online at ShazamAuto.com. Then come see me, Dale Murray. I'll be waiting for you. Shazam!
Do you ever notice how everything in your house works right up until it doesn't? One minute you're fine, then the next minute the AC's struggling, the drain's backing up, and now you've got a problem on your hands. That's when you make the smart play. Call Duck Duck Rooter. 3 expert teams, plumbing, septic, and air conditioning, ready to step in, fix it right, and get everything back under control. And right now, take $50 off any service of $225 or more. Don't let a small issue turn into a big loss. Stay ahead of it. When you're stuck, call Duck Duck Rooter, 904-862-6769 or duckduckrooter.com.
Make more birdies with pointers from the pros on Brunch with the Tour with Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser.
Tour news, tips, and inside info.
Teed up on Clearwater Irrigation and North Florida Medical Centers. Tuesday morning at 8:30.
Hey Jacksonville, it's Fred Taylor. If you've been in an auto accident, you need a team who knows how to get you back on your feet and back to your life. At North Florida Medical Center, they don't just treat the injury, they treat the whole person, from physical therapy to pain management. North Florida Medical Center has a team of experts ready to help you heal and recover. I trust the team here at North Florida Medical Center, and you can too. So don't wait. Call North Florida Medical Center and get the care you deserve.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch. Now, the Monahan's golden moment. Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach, your local family jewelers.
Really, a lot of golden moments on the program tonight. Glad to be back with you, fresh off vacation. Certainly glad to be back in the saddle here on Hacker After Dark, and glad to be back out at OTAs for the Jaguars earlier today. I was down there at the Miller Electric Center, had the opportunity to go one-on-one with linebacker Dennis Gardeck. If you missed that, we'll give you a Hacker After Dark replay probably tomorrow, and it's certainly on the 1010XL.com on-demand page. But the Jaguars got back after it, and now we can officially say training camp next month here in Jacksonville. We are in the month of June now. And, of course, training camps all over the NFL get underway in the latter stages of July. As the NFL season begins to get closer, the NBA is moving farther away, but we still have the finals coming up on Wednesday night, the Knicks and the Spurs. I want to get into that, and I want to get into the new coach of the Orlando Magic. It's not Billy Donovan. It's Sean Sweeney. Well, who is Sean Sweeney? The associate head coach of the Spurs. He's still a little bit busy until he takes the Magic job. We'll talk Sean Sweeney, but we'll certainly talk Knicks, Spurs as well with our Sean Devaney, Heavy.com, one of my main NBA guys. He joins us next on a Monday night here in Jacksonville, Florida. We're glad you're with us on Hacker After Dark.
Wide open and pedals sticking to the metal.
The fans have risen to their feet.
This Sunday at Michigan International Speedway.
Holy cow, baby!
NASCAR is revved up by the Plumbers and Pipe Fitters Local Union 234 on 1010XL. Streaming live from the XL Digital Studios. Polished by Harbor Dental Care, the locally owned smile restoration experts.
I'm with Sullivan from Cycles of Jacksonville. And Sullivan, you love the beach and you love to ride. So tell everybody what Honda's got cooking right now.
Yes, definitely. Here at Cycles of Jacksonville, we have a full line Hondas, Vespas, Triumphs, everything you can think of just to ride to the beach. It's going to be the best summer ever when you hop on that ride this year.
So if you head to the showroom first, you're going to see all sorts of examples of what they can enjoy.
Exactly. Come see us at the showroom, Atlantic Boulevard. We're ready to see you there.
You can log on, check out their Facebook page or cyclesofjacksonville.com.
Checkmate. I'm Brendan Cecilia, founder of Checkmate Coatings.
And I'm Chester, Checkmate mascot and cultural ambassador.
Summer is a perfect time to have your garage floor coating installed. With our chemicals drying even faster in the warmer weather, it's a busy time for us, but we can still keep our prices surprisingly affordable.
And with 0% financing available, you can enjoy your floor now and pay for it later.
And Chester can enjoy his fancy British tea that I have to pay for.
I do enjoy a nice Darjeeling, Brendan, and the quality is important.
And at Checkmate, the highest quality is our minimum standard.
On flooring and tea.
Gorgeous garage floors?
Check. Perfect installation?
Check. Easy payment options that make your great new floor affordable? Checkmate.
Transforming your floors, making them great. Checkmate.
Visit checkmatecoatings.com. That's checkmatecoatings.com.
And that concludes the Joe C. Jack of All Trades show. Tune in next week where I'll be installing my own French drain.
Joe, wake up, man.
Hey, John, I must have dozed off.
We finished those projects you started.
Whoa, my seamless gutters are actually seamless.
And they're connected into underground PVC drain lines.
And my sprinklers. Wow, look at that coverage.
Next time, just call me first, Joe.
I will, but I ain't singing that song.
Clearwater irrigation
and drainage too.
Hey, it's Brent with Arcosa Crushed Concrete. If you've got concrete or asphalt rubble on your site, let me buy it from you, and I will recycle it into construction material for your future projects. Arcosa Crushed Concrete. Get paid for what you don't need.
This is Hacker, and I'm a firm believer in the power of a floral arrangement delivery from the experts at Kuhn Flowers. It's just like magic. Why not surprise your best friend today? On the phone, in person, or online? Kuhn Flowers does it all.
Got a dent or a scratch that needs fixing? San Jose Collision in Mandarin offers expert auto body repair and works with all insurance. Family owned and locally trusted. San Jose Collision in Mandarin.
Hey, it's Travis from Cannons of Jacks. When you need a trailer hitch, gooseneck, or RV towing options, call us at Cannons. We've been doing it for 55 years, and customer service is our #1 priority. Visit cannonsofjacks.com.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch. Here's another call on the 1010XL hotline, driven by Key Buick GMC, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville, we are glad you are with us. The NBA Finals are set. San Antonio and New York. Boy, it feels like the late 90s, right? That was an NBA Finals matchup back when you had Tim Duncan and David Robinson doing their thing for the Spurs against, who was that, Allen Houston, Latrell Sprewell, and the crew for New York. Now fast forward to 2026, and we'll see it all over again beginning Wednesday night with Game 1. Let's talk NBA Finals. Let's also talk about the Orlando Magic. They have a brand new head coach, and no, it's not Billy Donovan. Let's get into it with Sean Devaney of Heavy.com. He's one of our guys when it comes to the NBA, and Sean is always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Sean, how we doing?
I'm doing well, Ryan. How are you?
Hey, Sean, we're good. Thank you so much for the time. Let's begin with Orlando. You and I talked a few weeks back, and at that point, I think a lot of people around here anyway were really hoping it was going to be Billy Donovan. We then heard there was some Jeff Van Gundy conversation, and in the end, the Magic do a 180 from that and go with a young associate head coach and Sean Sweeney from San Antonio, who, interestingly enough, won't even take over full time until after the NBA Finals. What has been the reaction to the Sean Sweeney hire by the Magic?
I think it's generally positive. It would have been unsurprising if they had gone with a veteran guy, like you said, a Van Gundy, Billy Donovan, Tom Thibodeau, somebody like that. But Sean Sweeney is you're right. It's a 180 from that in that he's been a career assistant, but he's been one of the most respected assistant coaches for quite some time. Obviously, he's got some connections with Jeff Weltman and John Hammond in that front office, going back to when he first really got his start as a very young coach. I remember him back then in Milwaukee. But since then, he's really sort of built up a long resume and an impressive resume. And, players really like him. He's good with the development, and that's certainly important. But, obviously this is a team that's looking to turn the corner and win. And I think the fact that he has been with the team that is now in the NBA Finals, I think that sort of pushed him over the edge here and is the reason he gets this job.
It's interesting, and look, I'm going to be first and foremost that I don't know very much about Sean Sweeney at all, so I'm just giving my opinion on this. I'm curious your thoughts and your opinion as well. But 5 years ago, I heard about what a player's coach Jamal Mosley was, and he was the next up-and-coming great head coach, an NBA assistant that really came up fast and is going to make a big impact. And while Jamal Mosley did a decent job in Orlando. I mean, he got him to the playoffs 3 out of 5 years. Obviously, it did not end very well. And when I saw the Sean Sweeney hire, Sean, I immediately went back to, is this Jamal Mosley 2.0? That's why I'm surprised they didn't go for a more established guy like a Billy Donovan or even a Tom Thibodeau.
Yeah, no, and that's certainly a valid criticism here that, you're going to have a guy who's walking in and he's not wearing a championship ring. He's not ever been a head coach before. And, again, he's got a terrific reputation as an assistant coach. But, those 12 inches you move over from being the lead associate coach to being the head coach, that's a pretty big move that you've got to make. In terms of where you're sitting, so it's definitely a surprise. I thought they were going to go with a more polished guy, with somebody who that has more of a reputation, that can come in and kind of know what he wants right away. And we just don't know, how Sweeney's going to react to certain situations, how he's going to react to a losing streak, to adversity, to player discord. He's obviously well liked by players, and there's no question about that. But whether he's a guy who can come in and be the voice you need, I think this team really needs to tighten up a lot of things. They definitely haven't played up to their capability. You'd like somebody who, for lack of a better term, can come in and knock some heads around, and really, just make sure that this team is playing up to its abilities, which we haven't seen to this point. So we don't know if he has that in him, and I guess the Magic they're going to find out.
Sean Devaney of Heavy.com. Sean, final Magic question. You mentioned Sweeney. You remember him from Milwaukee. I think 5 years as an assistant with the Bucks, and it doesn't take too much to connect the dots there about the Giannis sweepstakes. And Orlando has been kind of in the rumor mill to an extent with Giannis for a while now. Now you bring in a head coach that was with Giannis for 5 years in Milwaukee. I mean, can you connect the dots on that one as well?
Yeah, I don't think that's too far off base that, the Magic would at least have interest in bringing in Giannis. Obviously we mentioned, Weltman and Hammond are there, and they brought Giannis into the league, basically. And Sweeney was, one of his, first real connections in terms of a coach. Obviously, Jason Kidd was the coach, but Sweeney was the guy who was working with Giannis day in and day out and helping him improve. So yeah, there's no question there's some smoke there. I think it's a long way to go from smoke to fire, though, because obviously they're going to want a pretty good package in return for Giannis, and so the question becomes, okay, does Orlando have enough, especially without the draft picks that they sent out for Desmond Bane? Is there enough there to make a deal? So, I think it's definitely worth monitoring. And I think the Magic would be interested. It's a matter of, can they put together enough of a package, and does Giannis want to go there? Even with Sweeney there and all of that, it's still a matter of he's got some say in where he goes, because he can sign an extension or not. So if he doesn't really want to go to Orlando, then that would be crossed off the list.
And of course, at minimum, it would cost either Paolo or Franz, among other things. And you got to consider that if you're the Orlando Magic. Well, the NBA Finals are set. The number 2 seed in the West versus the number 3 seed in the East. I don't think people are shocked that the Knicks got there. Maybe surprised that they have obliterated their competition in the playoffs. I won't use the term shocked, but clearly the Spurs probably pulled off a mild upset in knocking off OKC, particularly winning Game 7 on the road. Sean, they're just ahead of schedule, right? I mean, San Antonio is supposed to be doing this maybe next year as opposed to this year.
Yeah, it's like they leaped the queue a little bit. They sort of jumped the line here, because they are so young. And this is a team that you thought in 2 or 3 years was going to be a real powerhouse, but here they are. They're already in the NBA Finals, I would put the Knicks as the favorite here, but it would not shock me at all if the Spurs came out and were able to finish this thing off and win despite the youth. And that's something that's going to be a little scary for the league going forward, is that, this team really is just getting started. As long as Wemby can stay healthy and the young guys that they have continue to develop, this is going to just be a team that gets better and better as it goes forward.
Wemby had more expectations on him than maybe anybody since LeBron coming into the league, and he's only 22 years old. He's already in the NBA Finals. Sean, is he the best player in basketball moving forward right now?
Yeah, I would say, certainly, he's got a bit of a physical advantage over everybody else, no question. But yeah, I would say that's true. He's a guy who it's really difficult to find a defensive solve for him. There's just nothing that you can do really to stop what he wants to do on the offensive end. And then, defensively, he's such a force as well. So, even at, he's only 22, just turned 22 this year. He's really a guy who, again, just getting started. And you think of where he'll be in 5 years when he's actually in his prime. And that's pretty scary because, what we've seen so far in terms of his shooting, passing, defense, he's got, he pretty much checks every box.
Final moments, Sean Devaney, Heavy.com. From the New York Knicks perspective, again, they're coming in on an 11-game winning streak. They're just crushing people. But I think people will point out that, look, Atlanta, a banged-up Philadelphia, and what they just did to Cleveland just absolutely rolled over and died after that Game 1 collapse. It probably hasn't been the toughest path for the Knicks. Now, again, they are crushing people, but clearly, Sean, this is going to be their biggest challenge to date.
Yeah, I agree with that. But, I'd also say that, when a team folds, it folds because it knows it has no chance. And the Knicks are coming in and they've given all these teams that they've faced, after that third game against Atlanta in round 1, pretty much they've just controlled every game. They've just been a different team. They're running everything through Karl Anthony Towns, and that's going to be a real problem, I think, for the Spurs, because they'll probably have Wembanyama on Josh Hart, which means you'll probably have Stephon Castle giving up several inches on Karl Anthony Towns, and the Knicks during this streak, this 11-game streak, they've been so good at finding mismatches and running through Karl Anthony Towns and sort of using his height and his passing ability in a way that really hadn't done all year. But they've been doing it so effectively in the last 11 games that it's a real problem, I think, for the Spurs, and I just think it might be too tough for them to solve.
I would think Adam Silver and the league have to be thrilled. I mean, you get New York and everything that comes with that, playing probably the most must-see guy going right now in Wemby. I would think the NBA is doing backflips over this finals matchup.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's been a long time, as you mentioned. It's been 27 years since we've seen the Knicks in the finals, and 50 years since they've actually won something. So they're very happy to see the Knicks and see Madison Square Garden back in the spotlight in this. And then if you had to take something else that they would like, it would be to have arguably the biggest international player going right now. So this is a series that has a lot of attention in New York, obviously a lot of attention nationally, but then it's also an international series because of Wemby. So this is about I think we'll see some pretty big numbers from the broadcast when those start coming out.
I want to get a prediction from you as we wrap up, but people talk about the lack of parity in the NBA, or at least that was a talking point for a few years there. This will be the 9th consecutive year we have a brand new NBA champion. What does that say about the parity in the league?
Yeah, and it's something that I don't like personally, but this is what the NBA wanted, and it's worked. This is why we have aprons, and you have the first apron and the second apron, the luxury tax, and all this stuff is because if you put together a really good team, it's tough to keep it together, and the finances are just going to get to a point where you can't do it, and so that's what this all has been for, everything going back to the lockout in 2011. So for the last 15 years, the league has been trying to get to this point where it can have a different champion every year. And it's there. I don't like it personally. I like it better when we have some dynasties and you have, who's going to beat the Warriors? Who could beat the Lakers? When we have that kind of thing, and it seems like that's gone. So, I think the NBA was better the other way, but this is what the league has wanted, and sure enough, here it is.
All right, Sean, Knicks and Spurs to get underway Wednesday with Game 1 in San Antonio. What kind of series are we going to see, and who ultimately wins the title, in your opinion?
I think it's going to be a fantastic series. I think there's so many little storylines in this, but I think ultimately it's going to be the Knicks. I just like their overall length, the way that they defend, the way they turn defense into offense, or at least what they've been doing in this past month. I mentioned how they're running things through Karl Anthony Towns. I think that change really has been fantastic, and it kind of makes you say, well, geez, why haven't they been doing that all year? But they whatever, who cares? They're doing it now, and it's been pretty impossible to stop. So I like I say, I think the Spurs have such a bright future. I just think that right now it's the next moment.
Sean Devaney of Heavy.com. Sean, I know you're busy, man. Thank you as always for the time, and we'll do it again soon, pal.
Thanks, Ryan.
And thank you to Sean Devaney, Heavy.com, for joining us tonight here on Hacker After Dark to not only look at the brand new head coach of the Orlando Magic, Sean Sweeney, the associate head coach of the San Antonio Spurs. He's never been a head coach in the NBA. A lot of people were talking about Billy Donovan for Orlando, myself included. Some people had brought up Jeff Van Gundy because he had interviewed there. But instead, Orlando kind of does a 180 from that. They go younger again, no head coaching experience again, very similar, quite frankly, to what they did 5 years ago with Jamal Mosley. But they bring in Sean Sweeney, although Sweeney won't even get to Orlando until after the NBA Finals. That's because he, of course, is the associate head coach of the San Antonio Spurs, and the Spurs are getting ready to take on the New York Knicks NBA Finals Game 1 on Wednesday night. So we talked to Sean Devaney about both the new Magic coaching hire and the NBA Finals. And if you're Adam Silver in the NBA, boy, you're loving this Finals matchup. Are you kidding me? You get the New York Knicks and everything that entails, taking on probably the most must-see player on the planet right now in Wemby. I would imagine the TV numbers for the finals are going to be absolutely enormous. We also spent some time talking AFC East. We're going to go one division per week for the next 8 weeks leading up to the start of Jaguar training camp. This week, it's all about the AFC East. We will make stops in Miami. We will make stops in New York and New England. But we always kick it off with Sal Capaccio, WGR 550 in Buffalo. We appreciate Sal joining us tonight to give us the information on the Buffalo Bills offseason. Brand new head coach, of course, in Buffalo. So we enjoyed that conversation. And then back in hour number 1, my friend Jamal St. Cyr of Channel 4. Got a chance to see Jamal earlier today down at OTAs for the Jaguars, and appreciate Jamal joining me tonight to give his thoughts on everything that we saw down there at the Miller Electric Center. Glad to be back with you guys. Certainly enjoyed vacation, but look, happy to be back at it here on Hacker After Dark, and certainly enjoyed being back with you here on this Monday evening. Aaron Williams was your producer tonight. Aaron, great job as always. I'm the hacker, Ryan Green. And again, Jacksonville, thank you for spending your Monday evening with us right here on Hacker After Dark, on 1010XL, and on 92.5 FM, which should be a very interesting week with the NBA Finals beginning on Wednesday, the Stanley Cup Finals beginning tomorrow night. You obviously got the French Open going on in the world of tennis. You got the super regionals in baseball. College baseball will be beginning soon, so it will be a fun week. The Jaguars continue their OTAs, mini camp on the horizon, and we can officially say now in the month of June that training camp is now next month for the Jacksonville Jaguars and for every other team in the NFL for that matter. Next month, training camp in the National Football League. We'll be back tomorrow night, Tuesday night, 8 o'clock here on Hacker After Dark, and we do hope that you join us then. So until tomorrow evening at 8 o'clock, have an absolutely terrific night, Jacksonville.